Hey everyone, it's Emily. Bernie and I want to remind you that getting together is how we grow, and that's why we want you to come to the next Unreasonable Connection event. We run it every single month, and it's a great way to connect with other co-working professionals and find some inspiration and solutions to whatever problems you're having. Sign up using the link in the show notes. And now I want to introduce our guests. We have Olivia Jones and Tyshon Boone. They are co-owners of Prism Space and Chicago. Hi, Olivia and Tyshon.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Doing great here. So, I wanted to get started by just talking about your community a bit. I know that your appreciation for art really goes also with your personal backgrounds in art. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how you got into co-working?
Well, it's been a bit of a journey. Um, we used to go to the University of the Arts in Philadelphia. Olivia was a dance major. I was a theater acting major. So I guess you could say we're just two folks who have always been performing. We got our bachelor's degree in our respective fields. So that's where the passion for arts comes from. Um, that's our old lives, though. So fast forward to how we got into co-working is that Olivia became community manager of a previous co-working space. Um, she was pretty much handling the day-to-day operations, running it, on her own. And she would always invite me to come visit her at work. So I would come here. It was a great community. I would work. I loved, the environment, the community aspect of the co-working space at the time. And I just thought it was a great space to be in. And later on down the road, the previous owner presented the opportunity to Olivia to purchase um, the co working space. He loved all of the work that she did, how she made it grow, she made it better. She definitely created more of a sense of community in the space, and the members were definitely they loved it. It was more things to do for them. And when he proposed this idea that she buy it, I told her it was a great idea, and she was extremely nervous, and she wanted some support, some help, some money. And I said it would be great. It was right up her alley, and that's kind of how Prism Spaces was born. Did I miss anything?
What's your background, Olivia? You were a dancer?
Yes, a professional dancer with a focus in ballet. Um, yeah, I think that after college, I did some dancing professionally. I lived abroad, um, but ultimately determined that I just needed to make more money living, in Chicago. Um, and I ventured into real estate, which I definitely believe lends its hand to what I'm doing now. So, like leasing, property management. I think now I'm just like a glorified property manager and leasing agent extraordinaire. So, um, yeah, it's just been really cool to be able to leverage all of the different, I guess, industries that I've been involved in and bring the creative aspect from my arts background. But
Mhm.
then all of the stuff that I think really makes our community great is that we don't have any of the stuff that you have in like your traditional corporate work environment.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the things that our members find the most refreshing. It's kind of like a come as you are
Hmm.
approach.
Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't our community hasn't given us like any troubles, like, and I'm just like, when does the other shoe drop? Because it's like I wasn't, we've been in business now 8 months, a little over 8 months.
Yeah.
Um, and while it has been difficult, I'll say that like our community has made it the easiest.
Yes, for sure.
Um, yes. So when
Yeah.
we have these
I would
hard
definitely say that you're more than just a leasing agent, like you were saying before, because that's what sets co-working apart from, just renting out office space is that
Mhm.
community piece.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the more you know what your central mission is, and it seems it's clearly around the arts for the both of you. How does that roll out in your day-to-day business? How do you actually support the arts in your neighborhood?
Huh. Well, we support the arts in our neighborhood by putting out a call for local artists. And by that, we mean anyone. There's often a barrier to entry for a lot of spaces. You think about, the Fine Arts Museum. There are so many museums in this city, yet there are also a ton of artists that have work that is just, collecting dust or sitting in storage. And um, one thing about art, I think, just across the board, no matter if it's performing arts, visual arts, music, anything, the thing that artists want the most is for their work to be seen, heard, experienced. And just at our last First Fridays, I'd say that that's one of the things that stood out to me the most,
Mhm.
were the artists that had not only come because they have work in the space, but artists that have just submitted to, be a part. And they're so excited about the, you know, opportunity. And for myself, I'm like, oh, don't worry, girl, like you've got it, like you're in, like we've got so many walls. But it takes me back to like those days when like you audition for something and
Yeah.
it's like the times that you don't get called back, and I'm like, no, like, yeah, I mean, we'll have, what do they call them? There's like a specific term for gallery, well, it is gallery walls, but like
Yeah.
we'll have a gallery wall on every wall, here.
We also every month we try to do a raffle for the members.
Mhm.
It usually consists of a number of prizes, if you
Mhm.
will, and we always want to have at least one of those prizes be arts related.
Mhm.
So this past month, we usually try to make good use of our friends who are artists. One of our friends, Amber Washington, is a local Chicago actress. She was in a production at Trapdoor Theater in a play called Galileo. And what we did to support that was we bought a bunch of tickets. They had a 2-for-1 special Thursday night performances, and that was one of the raffle prizes for the members here. We also noticed that the members here at Prism are um, really interested in the arts as well.
Mhm.
A lot of folks who, work corporate jobs, I noticed that they have like a curiosity for
Mhm.
art or a slight appreciation or wish they had more time to
We
go
have a whole
experience.
band.
Yeah.
We have a whole band in our own community,
Yep.
and we didn't find that out until open mic when they serenaded us with,
Yeah.
what was it, the Backstreet
They
Boys?
did say the
Yes, it was
Backstreet
amazing. And I've found my people that also share the same passion for Britney Spears, and it's just like those little things that um,
Boys.
make people, I don't know, make people more interesting. Another thing that we do, we have like a random question. Our last question was like, what did you want to be when you grew up? And the answers were just like, wow,
Yeah.
okay. Like I wanted to be a dentist, and I'm like, wow, other people had that passion, but like they're not dentists. So it's so interesting to see, our members' journeys and then our own journeys. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's interesting that you come from a different industry than co-working, which is the norm. Most people who run co-working spaces come from another industry.
Mhm.
But since you've been doing this, for the more than 6 months, going on to a year now, close to a year by the end of the summer. What surprised you most about this journey so far?
At least for me, it was it was more so the little things that I think separates Prism from other co-working spaces. I tried to once we embarked on this journey and we were actually going to do it and leading up to closing and everything, I wanted to, get more insight on different kinds of co-working spaces out here in Chicago. So I went to
Market
Regis, yeah,
research.
do some market research. I went to other co-working spaces and I noticed that what was a given for us, a no-brainer, if you
Yeah.
will,
Hmm.
wasn't necessarily the same thing over there.
Right.
For example, I thought it was crazy that they were charging you for every cup of coffee that
Like
you
if we charged our
Are you
members, if
serious?
we
yeah,
charged our members per cup of
yes,
coffee, we would be able to we wouldn't Tyshawn wouldn't have to work. He could go straight to law school. Like
yes.
we would be like because we've got some coffee drinkers here.
Yeah.
And that's another thing is accessibility. Because at the end of the day, like I keep reminding myself, like, oh, we're a small business. Like,
Mhm,
it doesn't feel like we're a small business sometimes. I think
mhm,
because of how many people we're constantly interacting with and like
yeah,
the things that we're pulling off as like a 2.5 person team.
literally.
No, our community manager is
Wow.
not half a person. He is a whole person. I meant that in the sense of like, part-time hours or whatever. So it's
Sure.
a small team pulling off, big things
Yeah.
for like the general public. And so I that's one thing that I have found that is difficult
Mhm,
about it. Is that when we open up our community to the public, it's like, I don't know, I treat it like a little baby. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I don't want anything um, to go awry, but I also want everyone to see
mhm,
what we have to offer so that they can tell their friends, their colleagues. Everyone knows a remote worker,
yeah.
hopefully. I mean, the tides are changing. But the cool thing is that we have small businesses based in our small business.
Mhm.
One of them, they have a beautiful dog that he brings every single day. His name is Dio. Shout out to Dio.
Love that, yo.
Um, he, it's just, it's amazing. Like when people come in for tours, that's the thing. One of the things that sets them apart. They're
Yeah.
greeted by like this huge
Mhm,
poodle
yeah.
that is just so docile and scared, but like inquisitive and friendly.
Mhm,
And, they hear the white noise and the lavender,
mhm,
and they see that we have snacks and our water is filtered and we don't charge for printing. And
mhm,
it's just like that's the constant thing that we're getting is, oh my gosh, this is included. And then I mean obviously that's got us as business owners like, huh, are we doing something
yeah.
wrong? But um yeah, I mean I think a lot of it is also about retention. you know um the changes that we've made have been really great, and so we've got to keep that up, or yeah.
Right.
Now, since you both met in school, how has your friendship taken being business partners?
I'm sorry. I just read
it's it's definitely a challenge. I would say that
it.
we we struggle with I would say procrastination is definitely one of our struggles because we have every intention on having a serious business meeting. And quickly it will turn into, no, I'm just hanging out with my friend right now. So we always have to be mindful that, we are friends. We've been friends a very long time. And running Prism is fun. It is. I think that's a no-brainer for us. It's a great time. But we do have to get work done. So we'll notice that, yeah, like the meeting is starting at 1 today. And okay, so before we start the meeting, do you want to go get a drink, get some food? How about we watch an episode of this
Oh my
first? And then next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock because I'm hanging out with my friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so that's probably one of the struggles, I would say, when you are going into business with your really good longtime friend, your bestie, if you will.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Bernie and I were friends for many years before we started. We always kind of talked about starting a business together just because of the amount of trust that was there, and our similarity in values. And we do that too sometimes. Like we have our daily stand-ups, and sometimes, 2 hours fly by and we're like, wait a minute, we need to talk about the podcast. We need to talk about our content strategy.
Yeah.
Let's get back on task. Um, and I'm the scrum master. I'm supposed to run those meetings. But when you get into a routine of every day and you talk every day, it is very easy to slip. But
Yeah.
I kind of think of it like, I've been driving for decades, driving a car, I mean, and I still have to sometimes remind myself, like, okay, I'm starting to inch up on the people in front of me. I need to give a couple more car lengths. Even those things that you're so used to doing, you still have to, have active awareness
Hmm.
in the moment. And when you're in business, you have to put on that professional hat and then intentionally take it off at the end of the day. And that can be something that's difficult to remember when you just want to have fun with your friend.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So in our last conversation, I think we talked in April, you called yourself the hostess with the mostest, and that you like to
Did
create
I?
a vibe. How
You
has that
did.
how has that evolved as you've learned more about your members' needs?
Oh, I'm a mother now.
Yeah.
I'm a mother now. I'm no longer a hostess. I don't know. I see Prism Spaces as like
A daycare.
no, not a
Oh
daycare
no.
as my baby like as a
Yeah.
whole,
Yeah.
like every every need that I have or that I would have in a work environment, they have too, and so for instance, just like feminine care, that was something that I brought to the space when I didn't own it. I was like, oh no, we definitely need feminine care items. And, we've also added other items,
Mhm.
just to make, no, we've got to cut that. We can't talk about butt wipes
Like, why can't we talk about butt wipes?
because,
You can talk about it. You can
Absolutely.
talk about it. You can even curse on this podcast. We don't care.
oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I just think of like Tyshon and I, we are a little, I don't like the word bougie, but we do like things to be of, we do like I like things to be nice. I like to try and think about everything. And I think
Mhm.
that's where the hostess with the mostest came from. Kind of like when you come to my apartment,
Yes.
it's like, what do you need? Do you
Yeah.
need water? And
Hmm.
like, it's just all of those things that I would rather be like proactive and have them there than reactive
Hmm.
and like get a bad review or something. Like they didn't have toilet paper in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's my like one of my nightmares that I have.
Right.
Like when we, yeah, it's just like it's staying on top of everything. It's like a baby. Like I have to
Hmm.
order diapers, I have to order food,
Yes.
I have to change the filters.
Hmm.
And we also are improving the space, so the feedback that we get from members, it's like, I can hear people in the phone booths, and it's like, okay, so we knew that we have to invest in more noise isolation,
Hmm.
not all of the workstations had monitors when we took over.
Yeah.
That's been a really huge selling point for us. There are not a lot of co-working spaces that offer monitors to their flex users or like their day pass or like non-assigned. Some don't provide monitors at all. So yeah, just thinking of those things that I would need, that Tyshon would need as a remote worker, and just making it a space where like you don't hate coming, like people enjoy coming here. They like want to invite their friends, like
Yes.
bring a friend to work day. It's like, and then you've got this whole new like group of people. We redid our patio, and that did wonders for the community.
Yeah.
Another component, I believe, is like our artistry and then just like the wellness aspect of it all. You can go out on the patio and like hear a water fountain and see real live green plants and lounge, and like if you close your eyes you may feel like you're in Cabo because like it's just that cozy. Or you get out there, you take a call, you're on your laptop, and it's just amazing how everybody kind of ebbs and flows and works together, but they don't work together at all. That's like the most interesting part.
That's true.
Yeah. Now I know in our last conversation you were talking about how your members kept on telling you to charge more because of all the value you added, all the things you've described. How are you thinking now about that tension between accessibility and sustainability? Is it sustainable long term?
You know, that is one of the hard conversations that we had to have with one another
Yes.
as owners. And I feel like and correct me if I'm wrong, Tyshon, I am a little more sensitive to price changes.
Yes.
Because I don't know, like I don't want them to feel upset with me. You know what I mean? Because they're so happy. But I'm like, the reason you're so happy is because you have snacks that I order every 3 days.
Yes.
And it's like you guys just gobble, 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 gobble. And, just like the cost of everything. I listen to NPR and I listen, I don't know. I haven't like really done deep research on like, and maybe I should, on like how tariffs and taxing and stuff. I mean, for instance, we had to not order one type of tea because it was just like Amazon told me, I don't know when it's going to get there. And I was like, okay, well, our members love this tea, but we're going to have to pivot to, get tea. So yeah, it's things like that, are outside forces. And then also because it's a community and because you have such a personal connection with everyone, you learn about, I mean, not to put anybody's business out there, but we've had a couple of members that have been laid off, and they reach out, they're like, Olivia, I need to cancel my membership, or Olivia, I want to switch to day passes instead. And I'm like, for every person, I've been like, you know what? It's okay. Like, we've got you for next month, find a job because this is a hard market, and like, if this is the space where people are the most productive, like, I don't want to take that away from them just because
That's true.
I have to pay the electricity bill,
Exactly.
Well, and it's also very strategic too to do
Yeah.
that at that point. We talk to clients all the time, Bernie and I, about not always like leading in your newsletter with, first month free kind of offers because those they just don't perform well ever unless it's September and people are just signing up.
Yeah.
But that's like the right moment to do it
Yeah.
is because that reconfirms that connection with the community that the member has. Like they're going to come back, even if the month expires and they're saying, hey, it's going to be another couple months, I'm going to step back. They're going to come back because
Yeah.
you've had that extra care in making sure that they had that time.
And the
That's
crazy
really
thing
smart.
is that when I think about it, like if I had gotten laid off, I probably wouldn't tell anybody.
No.
I would be like, sorry, need to cancel my membership as of this date.
Yeah.
But it's like we have a rapport, and I'm just like, yeah, absolutely, stay.
I am not
Now, how
opposed to raising prices. I think I am for it, especially especially if there are noticeable improvements, especially if we take folks consideration. I think one of the great things about Prism is that because there's such a sense of community, members feel comfortable voicing their concerns to us
Mhm.
about the space. um, so if a member, gives a suggestion or, voices any type of
The
concern,
toilet,
you know what I mean?
5 flushes.
Literally. And we would, without any hesitation, assess whatever problem or whatever it is and whatever the space needs,
Mhm.
we dish out the funds to
Yeah.
do so,
Yeah.
and it makes the space better. So I don't really have a problem with, oh, prices need to increase because the quality of the space has increased as well, if you will.
right? And I think it's fair as inflation goes up. Say it's gone up 3%, we need to raise our prices 3%. Is a fair thing to do, and I think people at this point expect it.
Yeah,
Because you need to remain profitable too. Otherwise,
absolutely.
where's everybody going to work when you run out of money?
Exactly.
So, how about between your partnership dynamic? How are things divided between you? Who makes
um,
decisions about what?
I would say Olivia is more hands on in the day to day. I have a full time job outside of Prism. I'm a paralegal. I work at a personal injury law firm. So I'm there from 9 to 5 during the day. So Olivia is here most of the time, running day to day, giving tours, um, you know, making sure that we have snacks, we have coffee, any maintenance issues. She's here to handle all of that. I normally come in the evenings, make sure everything, is still up to par. And then I would say we always make time to touch base and collab on any special events or a new project that needs to happen for the space, and we can do that on our own time. So that's pretty much how I would say the workload is pretty much divided, but I think we do a good job on not keeping each other in the loop on what is happening with the space. You know what I mean? What's going on. I don't ever feel like I am just in the dark. I don't know what's happening because I'm not here as much as she is. I would say she's really good at um, keeping me up to speed on everything that's happening with the space, on upcoming
Hmm.
events and whatever she needs from me. So if she's like, hey, I have all this going on this week, at some point, can you get this report or whatever she needs done by Friday? I can I can definitely do that for her. If there is a specific event that, we're going to need all boots on the ground for this event that's taking place on the weekend, um, she definitely loops me in. So I would say that's kind of how the workload and everything is divided.
Okay. Now, I read recently in the co-working industry report for the first quarter 2025 that Chicago had the largest co-working space expansion among major US markets. It's a 16% rise over the previous quarter, which is considerable.
Competition is getting thick.
Is that just you two? Or
Well, so this is what I will say. With my little tidbit of real estate that I do know, obviously I worked in the residential side, but the commercial side of real estate, I mean, if you think about the Chicago skyline, like a lot of those are office buildings,
Mhm.
and a lot of them are empty.
Mhm.
And they're empty in part one because of price. And I think that that totally correlates with, like the cost of living in this city. If you are going to be downtown in the thick of it, like that's going to come at a premium. Um, but I also think that after that, um, the powers that be, I don't know who they are, they've, there's that whole trend in like moving from remote work, like the world is safe again. I remember like the city doing like a lot to get people to come back. One, because that's where a lot of the revenue comes in. Like even like the Metra, people coming in from the suburbs, and they're not coming in from the suburbs. They're not going to the restaurants. They're not going to the restaurants.
Buying
Who's
lunch.
going to eat the food?
Mhm.
And so
Mm.
it's just like this trickle down effect that it has on everything. And I think that that's definitely forced, commercial folks that normally wouldn't. They're getting more creative with their ideas. They're letting people come in, build out, have communities, and offering, I think, just a lower barrier to entry for office space. Um, but with that, you get a more commercialized approach. And sometimes commercial is like, we're going to charge you for every single little thing. And it's going to be very sterile, and like sterile, I like the sterile aesthetic sometimes.
Mhm.
But that works for maybe like downtown, but here in Wicker Park, one of the most art centric neighborhoods in the city of Chicago, we want it to be reflective of the community.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, I just want to thank you both for being on the podcast today. Is there some way that our listeners can follow you or get news about your co-working space that you'd like to share with us?
Yes. So if they'd like to get in touch with us, they can always check out our Instagram, which is prism.spaces. Spaces is plural. That is one thing that we are challenging ourselves to improve upon is our social media footprint. But we are a 2-person, 3-person team. So, yeah, but you can check us out there on prism.spaces.
Go to our website.
Yes.
You could go to our website to inquire about any office availability, day passes. I think one of the cool things that we do at Prism Spaces is that your first day here is free, just so that you can feel the vibe, see if you like it, if you want to be a part of the community, if you could see yourself being at the space a couple days a week. That's one of the things that we do. Your first day is free, and then we can talk memberships from there. But yeah, Instagram, the website.
The website is prism.space or spaces?
prismpartners.space.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you again. Thanks for coming on the podcast and sharing your story. I hope we can do this again. I can think of dozens of more questions of things that we could talk about, especially about the creative side of things.
Yes,
Yeah,
please
absolutely.
do. This was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've really enjoyed having you on, and we'll put all those notes in the show notes. For the listeners, do look them up and check out the work that they're doing. And everybody, have a great day and enjoy your co-working.
Thank you.
Thank you.